Hello, this is Justin Vogel, Chief Negotiator for SJEA. We are recording brief videos on MOUs and articles that we negotiated this year that affect everyone or could affect everyone. I encourage you to listen to the end of this one, even though it affects only placements of new hires. I believe that it affects everybody because there's a good bit of misinformation out there and misunderstanding about the use of this placement schedule. So let me cover it and hopefully answer some questions and clarify some things. This placement schedule is only used once in a person's career when they are hired. And once they are placed at appropriately with their number of years of experience teaching, then they get the negotiated raise that we negotiate for every year. That raise comes with some parameters outlined by law. For example, if you're on grandfathered status, you cannot get a raise higher than the annual contract effective category. So there's usually $1 difference between those two. And then the effective is 75% of the highly effective raise. So we have some parameters that are outlined in law, but we negotiate for the amount of money every year that is added to someone's salary. So nobody moves up these levels or these steps. There are no steps in our county anymore. This placement schedule is now going to be as good or better than districts that operate like us, that are similar size and use the formula for performance pay. I understand that there'll be some questions about Flagler, especially at the upper end, once you get over about 12 years. A 10-year veteran who's been with St. Johns County the whole time is going to make about the same as taking your 10 years and going to Flagler. But there is certainly a difference in the upper years. So if you want to consider, comparing apples to apples, I think it's just important to understand the difference and where those differences lie. Flagler does benefit some people, but not all. If you've been here for your whole, let's say, 20-year career, you're not making the amount listed here on the 20-year line. That's for somebody getting hired. That's where they would be placed. You're making more than that because you've gotten the raises all along. Okay, so now that we've got that covered, this placement schedule is not something that we move up individually. I do want to draw your attention to page 2, which I need to leave it in here so that I can tell you to ignore it. We are not using this proposal. We went with a better one. But you will see this in the ratification packet, so I didn't want to ignore it. This is the important part that affects more people than just new hires. So there are certain instances where we found, when looking at all the different data points and salaries that are out there, because in theory you could have 3,000 different salaries right now. They are not all different because they're kind of bunched based on if you started at the same time and got the same amount of raises as other people, then you'll be in that sort of group. But that happens naturally, not intentionally. The Human Resources and Payroll Department will look for any potential where a person that is getting hired with, let's say, 8 years experience would be hired at $100 or $200 more than somebody that's already working here with that amount of experience. They'll adjust your salary up. So there may be very small discrepancies for a very small number of people. It seems to be bunched in years. So let's say if you were hired at that 7 or 8 year veteran mark 2 years ago, then perhaps your salary may not be as much as a new hire with 8 years experience, but it's not by much, and you'll be adjusted up accordingly. So what we're going to do is have everybody get their raise that we negotiated, and then Human Resources and the Payroll Department will look at anybody who that applies to, and they'll make that adjustment by August 31st, which will include back pay, all right, all the way back to July 1st of last year, which is all of our back pay is to last year. So then if you're still not, if you think that you were caught in that, and again, this won't be many people, but there's a process that if HR and payroll miss it, that we can help you through the end of the calendar year, get that error fixed. And again, it would be retroactive July 1st, 2021. So hopefully, we do not believe this is a lot of people, but whomever it affects, we can address it and make sure there's no leapfrogging. In other words, somebody getting hired at a higher rate than somebody with the same amount of experience already working here. All right. So once again, we do not move up the entry schedule. It is only for placement of new hires. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.